Hello and welcome to the fourth video in creating the Alteryx Adventure from scratch. What we'll be covering in this video is how to create an approval flow so that when an item is added to our SharePoint list, we can trigger an approval so that the item is reviewed and confirm that it's okay to be added into the visualization, or whether additional work needs to be done. So far in the previous videos, we've created the form itself, we've created the SharePoint list, and in the last video, we created a flow that will trigger whenever the form is completed to take the form details and upload it into SharePoint. So what we want to do today is to create another Power Automate flow that will trigger when a SharePoint list item is created and basically prompt a response or start an approval flow so that the submissions can be reviewed and approved in a timely manner. So what we're going to do again in Power Automate is we're going to hit our create button, and I want to start from blank, so I'll create an automated cloud flow, and in this one I'm just going to call it Adventure Approval. And now what I want to do is the trigger that I want for this is when an item is created in the SharePoint list. So I'll just confirm and I'll search for SharePoint in here, and I want to go when an item is created, SharePoint list. Okay, select when an item is created in SharePoint and hit create. And now it's going to prompt me for my site address and list name. My site address isn't going to populate because of the connection. I'm just going to change that to a connection that can access that site address. And now I can select the Jon and Fee workspace, and then in the list I can select Alteryx Adventure, so that's my trigger. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to start an approval step. So I'm going to add a new step, and I'm just going to search for approval, and I'm going to select start and wait for an approval. And basically what this will do is it will start and then just wait for a response when I select the approval type of approve, reject, and the first to respond. So we don't want to wait for everybody to respond. We just want to get that first response and go from there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to populate the details of the approval. So in the title, I'm just going to go new Alteryx Adventure. I don't know if I could spell adventure. Item pending approval. And now I want to choose who it can be assigned to. Now this needs to be an individual's email address. It can't be a shared mailbox. So that might create some problems for you. So you need to list all of the potential approvers. In this case, for me, it's relatively simple because I'm just going to put myself in here. So yeah, I'm just going to select myself as the assigned to. This could be a list of people just with like a semicolon delimited list as well. So what I'm going to do in the details is I'm just going to add some of this dynamic content and some text as well, just to provide some details to the end, to the approvers, so that they have some context around the response as well. So I'm just going to go email. This could be anything. It's really up to you. I'm just going to make it really simple. Has completed a challenge. And then I'm going to identify the level of challenge. And the difficulty of challenge as well. Just so that it provides a little bit more detail to the user. Okay. Please review link provided. And finally, I'm going to say email wanted to share. And this is just giving some other commentary to the approver that the responder has provided. I'm just going to provide challenge comments. And then in the link item, I want to provide screenshot and link URL. Because only one of those is populated at once, there will only be the one link. But they both need to be in there so that it's populated both times. And then the last thing that I want to change is I just want to change the requester to the email as well, just so that it looks like it's coming more from them in the context of the approval that gets sent. And the rest of this I can leave as standard. So I want to enable notifications, and I can also allow reassignment to other people if necessary. Excellent. So the next step will be a bit of a loop. So what I'm going to do is in here, I'm going to go apply to each to start a loop. I want that to be this control tool. And then in here, I want to get responses. I'll select responses to the approval that we triggered. And then in here, I'm going to create a condition. And now I just want to check and see what the response was from the approval. So in here, I just want to find just response. Oh, outcome, sorry. And I want to check and see whether it's approve or decline. So on approve, I want to, and this will be the same on both the true or false, but basically on the approve, I want to send a congratulatory email. Send an email. in here, I want to send it to email. So I'm just going to select the add dynamic content. Just going to go email, and then just provide a notification that their Alteryx Adventure challenge has been approved, and then just provide some congratulations. And some more dynamic content for challenge completed, and then the difficulty challenge and level has been approved and will shortly be added to the visualization. And then if there's any response or commentary, I'm just going to go responses approve a name, would like to share, and then just the commentary that they've provided as well. Responses, comments, perfect. So that's relatively simple. I don't want to mess around with any of the advanced options. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to update the SharePoint item. So I'm just going to go update item SharePoint. Again, change this and find Jon and V workspace, adventure list, and then in the ID, I want to get the ID from the SharePoint item that we extracted up here, and provide the form ID and the form submit date so that it knows which one to update. And finally, just in the approved column, just want to add yes. And in the commentary, I just want to provide the approver's commentary as well. Perfect. So basically now we've got that working so that we're sending an email on successful approval, and we're updating the item that we extracted earlier, and we're updating the approved column and the approver's commentary as well. So now what we need to do is fill out where it's been rejected, and to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to copy this to clipboard, add the action from my clipboard, send an email. Oh, that's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to create it from standard. So send an email, and this can be pretty similar. So dynamic content, search for email in the dynamic content, and then the subject, it's going to be a little bit less jovial, but it'll be just notifying them that their submission has been rejected, and just providing some details. Unfortunately, your recent has been rejected. And we're just going to prompt them to review the comments and feel free to resubmit the challenge once the commentary has been addressed. And just give them the commentary that was provided. Excellent. And then on the action, I'm just going to update. Update the item. Find that site address, the list name, the ID, the form ID, submit date, and just change the approved from yes to no, and add the commentary here as well. Excellent. So now we've built out both of the potential outcomes from the approval. So the outcome can only be approve or reject. And on approve, it will send a congratulatory email to the submitter and update the SharePoint item. And on rejection, it will let them know why it was rejected, and also update that SharePoint item as well, and prompt them to resubmit their challenge once the commentary has been taken on board and corrected. So I'm just going to save the workflow now. So it's ready to go, and now we can test it. So I'll just hit back. I'll be prompted that the flow is now turned on. And what I can do now is I can submit another submission to test that it's all working. So in the page that we had submitted before, I'm just going to click as submit another response. And in this case, I'm going to go weekly challenge. Just going to do a beginner one. I'm going to provide a generic URL. And then go just to test that the approval commentary is coming through. And I can hit the submit button. So what should happen now is in our SharePoint list, we should see that new response has been submitted, which it has been. Fantastic. We can see that it's a weekly challenge. It's got the link URL, and it's got my commentary as well. And what we should see here when we refresh this is that we can see that flow is currently running, and it'll be waiting on a response from me. And if I open up my email inbox, I can see that I've just been given or been sent this email, and now I can approve or reject from here, and you can see that it's given me a link that's clickable, that opens up the URL that I sent them to, and I can see that I've got the commentary that I provided. So it's come through with approval hello world. And from the email itself, in many cases, sometimes you'll have to bounce out into the Power Automate site itself. But for me, I can submit via the email that I received. I can just go select approve and go provide some commentary. Oh, cannot spell. On beginner challenge, whatever. And hit the submit button. And this will complete our flow. So it's captured the response that I've provided. And if we go back into Power Automate, we can see that we've got that response back. And the outcome was approve. And then in the apply to each, we've got the condition, and it's evaluated to true because I approved it. It sent me an email. The email looks a bit bland and boring. You can probably spice it up with some HTML, coding or what have you. But it's really up to you. And I can see that the list was updated as well. So when I jump back into that SharePoint list, I can see that the approved and the approvers commentary fields have been filled out and completed as we expected. So that's it for this video. What we've done in this video is we have created an additional Power Automate flow that is triggered whenever a new item is added to the SharePoint list. And it triggers an approval that's sent to a list of individuals and waits for the first response. And then based on the first response, we'll either approve or reject the submission. And it will send an email notification to the submitter, letting them know of the outcome and also update the SharePoint list as required. Now, the reason why we've done this in 2 separate Power Automate flows rather than one is so that we can manually enter items into the SharePoint list itself, so that we could do things like a bulk upload of responses, rather than asking somebody that may have completed 100 challenges to complete the form 100 times. We can give them an Excel spreadsheet to fill out that has all of that. They provide the URLs for all of the challenges that they've completed, and we can bulk load that into SharePoint and trigger the approvals that way, rather than asking them to sit there and fill out the forms 100 times, because everybody's got better things that they could be doing with their time. So with that, what will happen from here is that we've finished all of our 365 integration parts, and we will now have an Alteryx workflow that will periodically check the SharePoint list, calculate the challenges that have been completed, and identify the badges that individuals have earned, and send that information off into a Tableau visualization or whatever visualization you want, and also issue Credly badges as well, if you set that up as well. So that's it from me. I hope that you've enjoyed this quick video series on how to create Alteryx Adventure from scratch in terms of the form and SharePoint and the Power Automate support flows. I hope that Alteryx Adventure is successful for you, and that you start to see some benefit with your analysts becoming more and more skilled as they develop their skill sets throughout the Adventure Challenge. Thanks very much.